Good morning. I'm Janie Parish. I'm the Executive Director at the Wadsworth Area Chamber of Commerce, and we're on Business Spotlights on Wadsworth Community Radio 97.1. Now, normally, Joe McNeil from Westfield Bank and I do this program. However, Joe is sailing around the world on a banana, and so he cannot be here today, and hopefully he'll be back in the States by next week. So today we have our intern, our chamber intern from Ashland University, Miss Alyssa Bayne. Good morning, Alyssa.
Good morning, Janie.
Hey, and here's what we're going to do today. We are going to interview Cheryl Parzych, and Cheryl is the Executive Director of United Way of Medina County, and she has not always been the Director of United Way of Medina County. It's pretty recent, probably within the last year. Is that right?
Exactly right, Janie. I arrived on September 10th, which was the evening of our signature event, Taste of Medina.
Oh, no.
And a baptism by fire. You can only imagine how many people I met that night.
Oh, my goodness. You should have taken a tape recorder with you.
That would have been a good idea.
And a camera. Yeah. So can you tell it? Well, first of all, I want to know about you because I think it's so important to know about our business people. So tell us about you, Cheryl.
Well, you're right. I am new to the United Way, and I'm also new to the nonprofit world as a paid person. I've been a volunteer, committee member, board member over the years of my career in many different nonprofits. And my career was really in financial services. I worked in banking on the wealth management side of banking. I was a corporate fiduciary and a manager and a business leader within banks. And a couple of years ago, it was that point in my career where I really started thinking seriously about making a change. And at that time, I didn't know what that meant, whether it meant a new position in the financial services world. But my friends in the nonprofit world, I was working in the Pittsburgh area then, said to me, Cheryl, you cannot leave Pittsburgh. And I said, well, I'm not looking to leave Pittsburgh. They had plans for me. You know how it is when you're in the family with a nonprofit. And I wasn't looking to leave Pittsburgh, but I started networking in the nonprofit world because of them. Mm-hmm. And that led me ultimately to a consulting gig with the United Way in Pittsburgh area. Because they knew me. I was on one of their executive leadership committees for Women's Leadership Council there, which is a huge activity. They raised $9 million. There's 2,000 powerful women. And from there, I was able to look at their worldwide posting system. Ultimately, Medina surfaced. And because I had worked in downtown Cleveland for many years and lived just north of Medina in Fairview Park, I was familiar a little bit with Medina. And I liked my time in Ohio very, very much. So when I met with the board, which was running the gauntlet, I tell them this all the time. You know, they were a big table facing me, all of them. And we had a very quick hour together, but it really clicked. And so here I am.
Well, I have to tell you, to me, it's amazing when somebody goes from the nonprofit world or from the for-profit world to the nonprofit world. Most people do not make that jump.
That's true. Most people don't make it, or it's short-lived. And, you know, I'm just at the beginning of that, so we'll see what happens to me. But what I see as similarities, the type of business that I was in financial services was a relationship business. It was about how to make families successful and conquer some of the challenges that families have. This is very similar, only working on a community-wide basis. You're networking with people like yourselves and trying to define the most pressing urgencies in every community, get people together, and figure out how to make it better.
Great.
Same.
That's awesome. Well, since you gave us a little bit about your business, could you know, your journey with your business life, would you be able to give us a little bit about yourself, like what you like to do for fun?
Well, for me, I love to travel, and I'm a dual citizen. I'm also an Irish citizen. Awesome. And so Ireland is a favorite kind of a place that felt really at home. That came to us through my husband's Kelly side of his family. And so traveling is a bug and a passion, and I love to be with friends. So, you know, hanging out, simple things is really a good time. I'm an antiquer, gets me out into the byways of any community.
So your husband is Irish?
He is. Although our name is Parzych, which is a Polish name, he is Brian Kelly Patrick Parzych, and so very Irish.
Wow. And how did you meet him?
Well, we're from the same hometown. We both grew up in Syracuse, New York, and we met through mutual friends during college age, and ultimately we both came back home to Syracuse, and it started from there.
Boy, what do you think is the most satisfying part of your job?
I really think it's learning about people and connecting them to whatever it takes to make them more successful. So it could be some kind of a service, it could be a mentor. For me, it's learning about what's going on in their lives and how to help them take the next step to improve whatever the situation is.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Would you be able to give us an overview of what your typical day looks like?
Okay, so when you're the CEO of a nonprofit, any of those of you who are listening out there, you know this to be true. It really is a jack of all trades kind of activity. The United Way is the largest charity in the world. It's a global operation, but we are one office of the United Way and very local. We have a small team of 6 people, and we run a little programming out of that, so we have some direct service clients, but also we do a lot of work with donors and volunteers and trying to understand and be educated and informed about the issues in all of the communities throughout the county. So that keeps us pretty busy, as well as, running the copies and answering the phone or whatever else has to be done.
Shoveling the snow.
Yes,
whatever
snow,
it needs.
putting the ice melt out.
Whatever needs to be done, you do
Yes,
it.
feeding the deer, don't tell anyone, but we do that.
Okay, good. I like that. This is Janie Parish with Alyssa Bayne. I love that last name because it rhymes with pain, which my sister always called me Jane the Pain. So I love that last name. But you're listening to Wadsworth Community Radio 97.1. Okay, so here we go again with Cheryl Parzych from the United Way of Medina County. Now, United Way of Medina County recently moved their office.
That's right. It's been not quite a year, or maybe just about a year, that the team moved, and now we're more in the center of town in the city of Medina. We're on East Smith Road, and it is a great location. And we have a nice boardroom, which I view as a community room. We've invited other nonprofits to come in and community groups, and from time to time they take us up on that. And I'm happy to see that the community is embracing the new location.
And also, United Way in the last several years has gone through tremendous changes. And can you tell us about those changes? Because it was a big upheaval here in Medina County because of the different ways that United Way of Medina County was funding other nonprofit organizations. So if you could tell me what you're focusing on right now, would be great.
What we're focusing on right now are in 3 primary areas: overarching health, education, and income. But specifically in Medina County, that's something that most United Ways focus on, those 3 areas. But literally, you could drive a truck of programming through any one of those gates. Mm-hmm. Here in Medina County, we're looking at early childhood development, youth engagement, so middle school, high school children, and then for adults, income stability. And that's really about making sure that we're helping people who are either unemployed or underemployed get to that place where they can sustain their household, whether they be a household of 1 or 4 or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so in that vein, we're really collaborating with all sorts of players in the community to create a program that embraces an individual who's looking to improve their employment status and either gets them training or equipment or helps them make sure their vehicle is going to stay on the road or gets them a pass on transit, whatever those things are that are really getting in the way of them being employed. We have a life coaching model around that, so they're working with a coach day to day for an extended period of time, which may be a year and could be more if need be. So the first step is really assessing what their situation is, then looking at what resources they need, creating that plan, getting that first level of employment, and then seeing what's next. How do I advance myself so I can get up to that wage that's necessary to sustain my household?
Could you? Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
Oh boy, I tell you, whenever I get a mic, you never know. I always want it. But I wanted to ask you, could you explain youth engagement to us?
Yes, absolutely. Let's spend a couple of minutes on each of the other areas. We do a lot of investigation before making any investments on behalf of our donors. And the assessment that was done in Medina County, the last assessment that was done, really pointed up some kind of alarming information about youth. And it was about, of course, cyberbullying, which we hear so much about, high levels of isolation, depression, higher than state levels, higher than federal levels. Also, there were quite a number of suicides at that time of young people, which was devastating to the community and very, very difficult to understand. So the folks that were working, and we bring in all kinds of volunteers to help us understand these conditions and help us prioritize and make decisions. It's really volunteer driven. But it was a quandary as to, well, what do you do when someone is feeling isolated? Well, you bring them into the fold. You try to bring them closer to demonstrate that they're involved in something bigger than themselves, and other people depend on them, need them, care about them. So the same thing with youth. We started very new youth programming. We had the E-Free Youth Summit, which is going to run again this fall at the end of October, which is really fantastic. We've done Unity in the Community since making those investments. We have brought behavioral therapists, behavioral counseling into some of our school districts. There was none before, and we know anecdotally that that change alone has made a very significant difference in the lives of some of our young people. The whole idea is to really trying to get them, bring them in from the sidelines and engage them. Youth Ventures is another program where we have teams of youth running throughout the county doing things that they've created on their own. They're doing mentoring programs. One group is doing did a big substantial food drive. And all of these things are meant to be incubators and become institutionalized with youth groups going forward, so that more and more kids can kind of come in and work on their community, make it better. If they understand that they're part of the community, I think it's going to be more connection that will really help them move forward.
'Cause when I think of youth engagement, I think of something different.
Uh-oh.
Oh, I'm thinking, I guess I wasn't putting it together with the counseling part, the pulling them into the fold kind of thing. I guess I was just thinking about activities.
Yes, and so, part of keeping youth engaged is keeping them occupied, so that they don't have opportunities to stray sort of into that bad crowd or into bad activities. And we do have some of our partners working on after-school programming. Right here in Wadsworth, we work with the Salvation Army. They have the Learning Zone, and they have their care group. And the care group is kind of a mentorship, a group mentorship. Let's talk about what's going on in your life. How do we make it better? But there's also the Learning Zone, where making sure kids are doing their school activities, they have a place to be after school, that they're doing the things necessary to succeed as a student.
I feel we're so blessed to have our Wadsworth Salvation Army here.
Absolutely. It's a great organization, and we're proud to be a partner.
They work so diligently in our community, and I just feel very blessed that they're here. Okay, so we wanted to ask you a couple more questions, but
Okay.
before we do, we're going to just let you know who you're listening to. So this is Janie Parish with the Wadsworth Chamber of Commerce and our intern, Alyssa Bayne, and you're listening to Wadsworth Community Radio 97.1.
Welcome back. This is the Business Spotlight on Wadsworth Community Radio. So you talked a lot about what you do with United Way and how you're really involved in the different programs that you guys have out there. Was there a special mentor or person in your life that helped you get to that point to realize your passion for this nonprofit?
I think I had a number of great mentors over my lifetime. My mother was someone who believed in introducing me to other people who could expose me to things that she wasn't involved in. And so all throughout my young growing up ages, I always had mentors that were involved in the community And I understood from an early age that you participated. My mother's belief was we are the community, and so she was participatory in civic affairs and at church and things like that. And it was just an example that I followed. And as I became a working person, professional person, you know, banks are real stalwarts of most communities, and they're very active, and they provide leadership and funding and talent in lots of ways. So I was always encouraged to do that. What I've liked about the United Way, and when I talk to people about the United Way over the years, is it is a place where so much goes on that's diverse, that if you follow your heart through the United Way, something good will come out of it. And I believe that. That's what happened to me.
That's awesome. So with all that, is there one thing that people would be surprised to learn about you?
I don't know. I always say, well, one, I'm a dual citizen. That surprises people. That's a little
Pretty cool.
unusual since I'm born in the United States. And also that I am trained by the FBI. I've been through their Citizens Academy, and, you know, that's something that was recommended to me. And when someone recommends something, I really take it seriously. And it's been fabulous to know what wonderful resources we have at our disposal there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What do you believe is your largest professional success?
I don't know if I've had it yet.
Oh, boy, I'm sure you have. Up to this point, what would it be?
Well, I've been really proud in my industry that, I was at a couple of organizations, the chief fiduciary officer, and that's kind of a serious legalese kind of a term, but that was kind of the epitome of my craft, if you will, to become that. And because I worked for a large organization, I had the ability to be part of top organizations that are global organizations, looking at the industry and working on it to improve it and improve all the professionals that are part of it. So that was great.
In Medina County, what's your very favorite thing to do?
I don't know. I am still exploring Medina County, and, I'm learning every day that there are new things. We have wonderful, hiking paths. Someone asked me the other day, am I a biker? And I said, no, I'm not, but boy, this is a destination biking place. I might have to take it up. And there's something to do every weekend, and I really think, people just need to get out. And I try to take advantage of what's happening, whether it's at the library or on the square or wherever it is.
Now, United Way has always been known for their signature event, Taste of Medina County. So for those people who have never gone, can you explain it to us?
It is a fabulous event. It's at the Weymouth Country Club. It will be on September 8th this year. The committee is very hard at work. And so it's this place where you buy a ticket, and the best restaurants, fine dining kind of restaurants, and come together, usually 20 or so, and they bring their signature dishes. And it's really about, just checking them all out, visiting with people who are there. There's a silent auction. There are raffle baskets. There's music. It's really a very, very nice evening out for a good cause, and to check out all these restaurants. We're going to have People's Choice Award this year, so get your vote in. And we want to make sure that the restaurants really get recognized and get a lot of traffic out of it.
Sure.
And
Now,
sorry.
No, honey, you go ahead.
And you had an event that you mentioned to us earlier before we started the interview upcoming this weekend. Can you tell us a little bit about that event?
Right. This weekend is on the public square in the city of Medina, and it is Pizza Palooza. These are all the pizza restaurants, the best of the best pizza restaurants that come out, and you buy one ticket and you can check them all out and vote on your favorites. But also it is a day when the nonprofit community is showcased. So there's a record number of nonprofits this year. I think 47 nonprofits are going to have tables and people there talking about their services, handing out flyers and, trying to keep the kids engaged while you're checking out the pizza. It's just, it's a lovely opportunity to know about places where you can volunteer, where you can express your passion, or where you can turn if you or someone you know is in need.
at the Wadsworth Chamber January luncheon, we do a nonprofit
That's
fair
right,
as
yes.
well. And that I am such a nonprofit person, and I love to highlight our nonprofits because there is so many amazing nonprofits that take what people can afford and what they need and what the government offers, and there's that gap for a lot of people. And those nonprofits are right there to help you fill that gap. And I'm so proud of the work that the our Medina County nonprofits do.
The work is very impressive, and we were at that event in January, our Employing Medina County program that I talked about earlier for helping people with their level of employment. We were there, and it's nice to meet the business community at that event because the business community is so critical to supporting that gap work, and
Yes.
They have employees and family members in need just like everyone else.
Right. And you just never know when you yourself are going to need something. And to just have it in the back of your mind that you talked to someone, you saw something about it when you need help or someone near and dear to you needs help, that you can be a resource for them too, to say, I heard about this, and it's so important.
Hey, while
Yes.
we're on that topic, it could be you tomorrow. It could be someone you know tomorrow. One of the services we bring to the county is 211 services. And if you have a need in the social service area, health and welfare kind of an area, please call 211. The people are very well trained that will answer that phone, and they will anticipate your problems before you know they're coming. They will help you out and connect you to very local services.
Now, I wanted to ask you too, Cheryl, do you have like a quote, a scripture, a mantra that you live by?
Yes, and I think it's attributed to Arthur Ashe, the great tennis player, and he said, start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can.
Boy, and that's great. Yeah, I'll have to remember that one. I don't play tennis, obviously. But Alyssa does.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a tennis girl there.
Good.
Okay. Well, we have some other questions that we'd like to ask you, but for right now, we're going to take a little break with Wadsworth Community Radio 97.1. Okay, we're back with Cheryl Parzych. Are you a CEO or executive director?
I am a CEO.
Okay. All right. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great title.
It's a very great title. With United Way of Medina County, who's only been in this position for about a year and has made a great impact on our community. So, say, for example, a lot of our businesses here in Wadsworth and, of course, throughout the county have do United Way drives
Yes.
at their business. Now, how does that work?
Well, really, we work with businesses very directly to figure out how they want to have a drive. And what kind of drive is it? Is it a financial drive? Do they want to do a book drive to support One Book, One Community, or a food drive to help with food pantries? What is it? And how to engage their employees. We're very much involved in developing a volunteer corps, the Medina County Volunteer Corps, MCVC.
Wow.
And the vision of that really is that there are volunteers who stand ready at all skill levels with all levels of time availability to help any organization that needs support throughout the year. And we've invested in online systems to help track all of that activity. We're training our nonprofit partners as to how to manage that information and to really get people moving and invested in their community. So businesses can come to us that way. We could do some kind of custom work that's also kind of like team building for businesses, and I think that that's a very nice way to bring a team together under and around a project, or adopt a school or adopt a library or something like that. How does that really happen? And that's where we come together and make that happen. Issues drive our work. So when we talked about need for youth engagement or sending young children off to school to be successful, having them be ready, that's an issue that might also drive a business. They might have corporate values that they want to activate, and they're having trouble doing that. But to be authentic to who they say they are, we can help.
Sure. So, for example, I'm working at a business and they're doing a United Way fundraising drive, and it would be great for me to donate to United Way just simply because you have done this survey as far as what are the greatest needs in our community. So you can take my donation and put it to where it's needed the most in Medina County.
Well, that's exactly right. So there is, if you have time to immerse yourself in an issue, and most people don't have that time, one of the benefits of United Way is to really study what the issue is about, to work with the people who are working on the issue, and to make the best investments that will leverage the dollars that we have. And I think when you pool your money with other like-minded investors or donors, you get the most out of it.
There you go. Well, we're going to ask you some rapid fire questions. So between Alyssa and I, we'll go back and forth. And this is just to find out a little bit more about you, Cheryl, because it's wonderful what you do with United Way, but it's also good to know about you as the person and not just the CEO of United Way of Medina County.
Person behind the title.
The person behind the title. Okay. So Alyssa's going to start, and we'll just go right back and forth.
All right. What is your favorite color?
I would say red or black, actually, if you looked in my closet.
Same, though. I like blue, but all my clothes are black.
I think that we know this already, but what was the city where you were born?
Syracuse, New York.
Okay.
And who's your favorite actor or actress?
I don't know. That's a really tough one. I like character actors like Kevin Spacey, and I like the big movie idols like Robert Redford. So
Brad Pitt.
Don't we all?
Yes. Yeah. How about your favorite song?
I like a sing-along song like the Irish Rebel songs, that kind of thing, where the whole group gets into it.
What's your favorite movie?
Gone with the Wind.
Wow.
It's an
That
old
is a
one,
good
it's a
one.
classic.
Yes. Favorite book?
Atlas Shrugged, which is really an old book as well, but it is something, it's about society and people, really figuring out how to lean on themselves as much as possible.
I had never heard of that book.
It's a classic.
Okay.
And who's your favorite friend?
My favorite friend are the tried and true friends, the people that stick with you in and out, and those folks that really that make an effort to be connected. It's so easy to fall out of friendship. That's really not friendship. You have to make the effort.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes I think I'm just the worst friend. You get busy,
I know.
But no, you're absolutely right. You do have to make that time. So what's your favorite Wadsworth business?
So I'm still learning, and it's an unfair question. So I'm going to say, you know what? The Chamber's my favorite. That's where we meet all the businesses.
You know what? That is my favorite.
Like that answer.
Yeah, I love that answer. She has always. I actually met Cheryl when she first came to United Way. We had breakfast together with our good friend Ryan Carlson, that's on her board, and I liked her right away, and now I even like her more.
And you didn't pay me.
I did not.
And what year did you graduate high school?
I graduated in 1974.
Oh my gosh, I graduated in 1974.
Oh, okay. So
Okay, just as a side note, did you hit a big number birthday this year?
I had a big number birthday this year.
You and me both.
I ate a lot of cake.
Yeah. Mine was cosmopolitans and cake.
Drinkable. Drinkable cake.
Okay. Oh, what's your dream vacation spot?
Well, I talked about Ireland before. The Irish coastline is a favorite. I want to get to the Italian coastline. I'd love to go to the Amalfi Coast, Positano, places like that. I am Italian by birth and my background. So,
Likewise. I'd love to get to Italy. What is your favorite sport?
Well, I'm more of a fan and then a sport player. Although I exercise, I'm not very coordinated for team sports, so I say football is my favorite fan sport.
Okay, and your favorite car?
A Jeep.
A Jeep.
Yeah.
Oh, my daughter loves to see a good-looking guy in a Jeep with a dog in the Jeep. With the
I'll vote for that. That's
yeah,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
with the hood off or whatever it's called, but she thinks that that's just very attractive.
It's definitely on the credentials list.
There you go.
Must have Jeep, must have dog. What's your favorite animal?
I am a cat person. I have a cat. I've had cats for years and really enjoy them as, friends.
Oh, your favorite food?
Homemade food is my favorite food.
Homemade. Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
And your favorite adult beverage?
Well, now this is a trifecta. I don't know. So Cosmo, I'm a Cosmo girl.
Yes,
I love champagne,
I do too.
and I love a Guinness.
Oh boy, you are a trifecta. Well, we are amazingly out of time. So Cheryl from United Way of Medina County, thank you so much for coming to visit with us on the business spotlights on Wadsworth. So thank you so much.
It was my pleasure to be here. Absolutely.